welcome to Warhammer Workshop. My name is Amy, and I am joined from the depths of the rock, finally awakened. It's my good friend JF. JF, hello.
I am barely awakened. It's been a rough weekend in all the best ways.
Honestly, I could use a 10,000-year nap about now.
Yeah, that's how it feels, doesn't it?
So we are just back from Adepticon, which is why we haven't been here, because we've been getting ready for Adepticon, which was a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I need to apologize for my absence, not being able to put anything up on Warhammer Workshop. Like you said, prepping for Adepticon just absolutely took over.
It was a lot.
My will was subsumed by the need to get things done. In the end, it was worth it. It was an opportune sacrifice, but I did miss being able to create content for you guys.
But we're back. We're back now.
Oh yeah, and I feel energy. I don't think energized is the word because I am still exhausted, but motivated. I feel renewed in my purpose as a content creator.
We made the pilgrimage, and
we did.
Now it's Hobby New Year. We've made our resolutions. But next year is going to be different.
Next year has to be different.
Next year is already different.
And in my defense, although I did promise myself I would not paint in the hotel room, and I ended up painting the hotel room, I painted far less than other years.
Oh, yeah.
There is improvement. There is hope.
We can do it.
All of us.
So this week's episode is going to be largely Adepticon focused, as we had the big Adepticon preview. I do want to run through this week's pre-orders real quick. We've got a bunch of boarding patrols. We have the Adeptus Sororitas, we have the Custodes, we have the Thousand Sons, which are all really fun boxes. Thousand Sons is weird, right? Because it's a bunch of Rubric Marines and then 2 Chaos Spawn, which is just...
I'm fine with that.
I mean, it's fine. It just is a weird box.
It's not as weird as seeing such a tiny model count as we get with the Custodes. A smattering of... this would count as a unit for most army, and here it's an entire combat patrol.
Yeah,
buckle up.
Sisters box looks fun.
I know.
I know you're done. I know. I know.
Take me a few months.
I know, but I mean, in general, it's a pretty good. After having spent some time with the Sisters Repentia, it's good times. So that's it on the 40K side. Necromunda side, we have the new Vaults of Temenos book, which is the next campaign book that we've got going on. We also have the Enforcer Sanctioner Pattern Automata, which are the police robots.
Yes, which are very cool.
Very cool. And we have the Cador Ridge Walkers, which we have talked about a fair amount on this show when they announced them.
They are dope.
They're so dope. Along with that, we have the vehicle cards and dice and the Ash Wastes upgrade kits. There's also the Ashwood Stranger Outcast Leader, and he is a cool model. I did not... for just generic Necromunda guy.
Yeah, if you're looking to scratch that Mad Max itch.
Yeah. Middle-earth's got a bunch of stuff, a lot of terrain. There's towers and ruins. There's also paint sets. And this is interesting because paint sets...
It's bizarre.
We have not seen paint sets from GW in a hot second. Not since the paint briefcase, which I have owned 2 of over the years. So we've got paint sets. We have the Battle Ready paint set and the Parade Ready paint set, which is cool. The Battle Ready set is 30 base paints and shades, and then the Parade set adds layer paints, so that you can add that little extra. So that's kind of cool. They haven't done that in a while. I'm interested to see what the price is on these.
It's also, I mean, these paint sets are they're not like, because the way we're talking about, like, it sounded almost like they were game specific, but I mean, my paints have been getting really low all across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So they do feel like maybe this is a good chance of just
a
restarting,
refresh.
like a good refresh.
Yeah, what they need is a contrast paint set. It doesn't have to be all the colors, but it like a good variety. Because I keep spreading the good word of contrast paints, and currently you gotta buy them kind of one by one. So good.
Wasn't there sets for contrast when they were initially released?
Yes. Well, you could buy all of them. That was basically the set. Was like, you want them all?
Oh,
great. Okay. Here you go. Which is fine. And that's it for pre-orders.
Yeah, it's a lean week.
That's pretty typical after a big event.
And also, I have a feeling that for 40K, we have several lean weeks ahead of us in preparation for delivering on some of these announcements we saw.
So we were at the preview live, which was fun. It was my first live preview, and that was great.
That's true. You weren't there last year.
No, I wasn't. So that was my first live preview, and I was very excited about it. Because it's different than watching it online, that's for sure. Because I had other people to yell with me. I'm sorry for the things I said during the preview. To anyone,
it's okay. You only swore a little.
It was a lot, and it was a big one, and it was fine. I stand by it though. So, I mean, I guess we should do like the big thing, right? I mean, the big.
Well, let's start with the second big thing, which is the lion.
The lion.
We kind of figured the lion was coming, but it felt like one of those things where when I first mentioned that, hey, maybe the lion is coming, is when there was a very lion-esque image on one of the tarot cards. I said, hey, that looks kind of like Lionel Johnson right there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh.
Nah. You're not doing that. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. I don't play Dark Angels.
No,
he's
care. Back. He's back.
Yeah. Super back. And a handsome boy he is.
He is really, really, really handsome. So he's back. He's got a new model. And we have a surprise 5th Arcs of Omen book. Arcs of Omen the Lion.
I am willing to accept that perhaps I was wrong, but I could have sworn they said there was only going to be 4.
I mean, they said there were 4. They didn't say there was only 4. I'm looking forward to Arcs of Omen the Witch and then Arcs of Omen the Wardrobe.
Yes. Those are going to be good. The Wardrobe in particular.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
I love how we're getting a 5th Arc of Omen book, and that's great. And we've got Abaddon, like leader of pretty much all the Space Marines of Chaos Undivided.
Yeah.
We've got Angron, Primarch, Demon Primarch of the World Eaters.
Yep.
There's Vashtor, aspirant chaos god of technology and forbidden curiosity. And then now we're gonna have the Lion, resurgent Primarch of the Dark Angels, and Fireside.
Yeah. Yep.
I can just like imagine all of them like talking and to each other and sending threats and having like these deep menacing voice sounding very official, very auspicious. And then Farside gets on the mic. It sounds like a nerd having an asthma attack.
Listen, we went to an event while we were at Adepticon, and I feel like we were Farsight, and it's fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
That is accurate. Feeling like you don't belong amongst the Titans.
Fine. So that was the first announcement for 40K. For Horus Heresy, we got the Fate of Chthoniya with the first campaign book. We had been wondering where we were going to go with Horus Heresy since we seem to be burning through models pretty quickly. Now we're doing campaign books. Fantastic.
I'm not against that. Campaign books have proven to be very interesting in 40K. It's also a way to further get the people who are playing the games but not reading the novels to get into the lore a little more.
Yep, absolutely. We had a preview of the final Gallo Dark KillTeam box.
That is true.
This is all right. This is the problem. The 40K announcements got so big that I forgot literally everything else that we learned about, and all of it is kind of big.
Yes.
So we've got, we have more Leagues of Votann coming with these jump pack kin, which are very cool, and then there are Beastmen of Chaos. 40K.
Well, it's not the first time we see Beastmen of Chaos in 40K.
No, but it's...
we all remember the Blackstone Fortress had some of those.
Yes. But
now they're back.
I don't think were they playable in... I mean, not that we don't have a guarantee that they're going to be playable in 40K, because we all remember the Navy Breachers, but...
Navy Breachers are playable in 40K, just not in a fun way.
All right, that's fair.
Like, they have stats, and I'm pretty sure those Beastmen also have stats. But now that they're coming back as a full kill team force, that means that they're probably going to get rules that you can play in 40K in your Chaos Forces.
We made a lot of predictions about what this last kill team box could be, and none of this was anywhere on our radar.
We dabbled with the idea of a League of Votann.
Sure.
It felt like eventually they would get something. They did get that. And you mentioned Jump Troops, but I think it's just one dude that has that. Yeah. He's cool. And we sort of predicted that as one of the options when we saw a little Rocket Bell.
Yeah.
In one of the rumor engines. So they delivered on that. Everything looks dope about these models.
Yeah. I mean, because I love the kill team boxes because they're all very individual looking models.
Yes.
They're all very unique, and I do love them.
I appreciate that. But it makes me kind of yearn for an actual jump pack only unit for Votann.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that would be fun.
It's possible because things are happening.
Yes.
Things are happening.
So, I mean, that goes around everything about 40K, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything they covered in the main one.
And no mention of Space Hulk, which was a disappointment considering that it really felt like they were teasing
a lot of
specifically Space Hulk. Like they said Space and Hulk in the same tweet in a very cheeky way, which is very Games Workshop. It's a classic Terminator face.
Yeah.
And versus a Tyranid, that's very Space Hulk.
That's it, yeah.
But they finished the preview. They encouraged people to stay until the end of the Q&A, but a good bunch of people had better things to do and left.
I will say, in their defense, in defense of the people who left, I've been at enough nerdy Q&As that I do understand that impulse.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love my fellow nerds, but when presented with a microphone and the opportunity to ask a question,
they're not great.
We do ask the dumbest things.
Yeah, we do.
And so, no, I get it. A lot of people left. I mean, it's
late.
The first evening of Adepticon. There's some drinking to do and some meeting with friends. But as soon as these people were gone and we got to the last question, someone asked, but what about 10th edition? Roll the tape.
I was floored.
If I were to dumb down the message of this extremely long, well-produced, beautiful, a little ambiguous animation that they showed to sort of tease 10th edition, is it felt, and all the information I went after, it felt like they were saying, now JF, we know we're kind of sticking it to you by having 10th edition announced at a an outside event. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And now that makes you look the fool. We get that.
Yeah.
We know you don't want a 10th edition, but hear us out.
But what if?
Like, hear us out. Like, there's a pitch to it. The animation is beautiful. It's great. to me in particular, it was amazing because it's a bunch of Tyranids. There's Guliman on this lonesome looking at sort of strategic holographic display and talking about all the wonderful victories of the Imperium and how the Imperium is winning bigly. And as he's talking about all these victories and all this winning, at the same time, we see images of just planets disappearing into the Immaterium and people getting their asses kicked here and there.
Yeah.
And eventually the animation goes into this talk about the hive fleets of the Tyranids being pushed back and on the verge of being extinguished, as a bunch of Space Marines are at first, true to the narration, beating back those Tyranids and then slowly being overwhelmed by some new things we've never seen before. And just a bunch of Tyranids.
I had a visceral reaction. It was
allowed
very good.
There is a Terminator being ripped in half, to which Amy was very happy. Not that I was unhappy with it. I do like to see a Terminator being ripped in half by a giant Carnifex.
I was swept up. It was fine.
And we see hints of a bunch. Like we see Biovores in action. We see this very weird Carnifexy thing tearing things up and vomiting blue goo onto a Terminator's face. We see these Terminators just warping in from orbit.
You see a glowy guy. Terminator with runes.
Yes, there's a glowy guy from the Terminators. There's a glowy guy on the Tyranid side. I posit and theorize that we are seeing a return of the Doom of Doom of Mortrax?
No.
I think that's it.
Parasite.
No. Parasite of Mortrax. Doom of Mountai. There we go.
There you go.
I theorize that we're seeing a return of that with a proper model this time, because that looked like what it was doing was just being more psyker.
Yeah.
It's good. It looked great. And at the very end, we have Guliman is looking at his holographic display with a bunch of green dot, probably signifying quote unquote victories, and just repeating the word victory all over again. And then as he stops, most of these green dots turn to red with skulls on them. Yeah. And he's looking at all these red dots all over the galaxy, or the segmentum that he's watching over. And yet, despite seeing all this, he still whispers victory, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't think you're reading the room properly, Robude, or maybe your allegiances aren't where you say they are.
I don't know. Wild.
He's a weird little abomination, that Robude Guliman version 2. Yeah. Who knows? Like, he is partially of Xeno's creation. Like, Yanid had a hand in his remaking. Also, as you like to say, we keep forgetting, but there are gene stealers on Terra. It's a thing to remember. It's just mentioned, no one remembers.
Yeah.
So yeah, great animation, very cool. And showed us some images of new Terminators.
Yeah.
Who are not that new. They're just kind of like a bulked up, more detailed, more dynamic version of the classic Terminators.
Yeah.
Apparently it's mentioned that these Terminator suits can be worn by Primaris or Classic Marine, so that's why they look the same.
Yep.
So we're not getting Primaris Terminator, not as such.
Not yet.
It's an interesting thing. They also showed us new gaunts.
Yep.
New Termagants specifically, which look way more detailed, a little more compact, they look a little more scrappy.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm not hating that. Hormagaunts, if they redo them, I already have 90 of, so that's going to be problematic.
Yeah.
But I don't have that many Termagants, so I'm gonna add to my army with those.
There you go.
And then they start talking about the rules.
Oh yeah. Simplified, not simple.
It's a good freaking model for
that is what we're looking for.
40K.
Yeah, the big thing is that all of those so they say that every unit, all of their rules will fit on a card, like on a card. And so things like, all those stratagems that apply to like one unit or like 2. Like those rules are all just baked into the unit now, which is what they should have been in the first place.
Yeah, and it is one of the things I requested. And this is part of why I'm saying, like, as much of a slap in the face is announcing 10th edition or having a 10th edition at all.
Yeah.
To me, things like that, like baking,
like at least they're making it
rules,
worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They're not doing it just to do it.
I mean, I'm sure there's a financial incentive to do it, but at the same time, it doesn't feel it's to the point where, like, I know people who have collected all of 9th edition and they said, well, if there's a 10th edition, I'm just freezing my gameplay at 9th.
Sure.
I'm just going to keep playing 9th edition so I don't have to go through this again. And some of these people, they heard what those changes were and went, yeah, maybe I will go for it. Maybe I will follow along. So another thing they announced that had me very excited is staying with the theme of those of data cards and stratagems is admitting, like, we have too many stratagems. It's a pain to just have to deal with all of them. So of all the suggested rule changes I've laid out on this and other shows, they said the exact same thing. We're going to limit the amount of stratagems you bring to a game.
Yep.
So you're going to a game, you're going to get this many stratagems. You pick amongst all your stratagems, only that amount, and this is what you bring.
Yeah.
And that's all I ask. It's just, if I have to learn 5 stratagems for my game, I can do that. I can remember 5 stratagems. I can't remember 40.
Yeah.
They talked about codex creep, that they were going to keep an eye on it, but it's really difficult because usually when they have problem with codex creep is because someone comes up with a cool rule and they want it in, but they don't overthink it enough.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I do.
I get it too. Like, it's you find something that looks like it's going to be fun and it's fun on paper, but
because that's the thing, right? That is their goal. Like, it's not like they do want it to be like, you could do this awesome thing. Like, great. Oh, but it's broken.
And that's the thing, like, at the level of play at which I am, which is not super competitive.
Yeah.
I see where those things pay off.
Oh, sure.
Because very rarely does someone bring the broken lists to games that I play, because I don't play high-level tournaments.
Right.
And when I do play against those lists, they're not played to their optimal ability, because it's not enough to just copy a list off the internet. You actually have to understand how to leverage it.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, these do create cool moments a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I get how sometimes they can miss it, but I am very happy that they're going to keep a better eye on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of the problems, right? Like, all the editions start off as a refreshing improvement on the previous version. Yeah. And it's easy to think that this is going to be the ultimate iteration of the game.
Yep.
And it's going to be fine. And 9th edition in particular was very much like that, because at first they didn't call it 9th edition. No. And as they were going along, we were getting all these points adjustments, these rules adjustments. And it felt like I was 50% convinced that going forward, there wouldn't be a need for a 10th edition.
Right.
And it could be argued that these are changes they could have done iteratively the same way they've done so far.
Sure.
But if you're looking for a quick, big reset, I guess you don't have a choice.
Yeah. The core rules are going to be free, as are the indexes when 10th edition launches. You will eventually have to get a codex, which is fine. It's fine. We're halfway there. Baby steps.
Baby step. But there is a caveat.
Yes.
You don't have to get a codex.
No.
Because one of the things that they announced that was very interesting is that combat patrols, the box sets, will have their own data cards that will be different from the final, the non-combat patrol data cards.
Yeah.
So that will allow them to balance it so that every combat patrol box is balanced against the other.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing one combat patrol box versus another, they should be balanced. But also, those rules for combat patrol will be free.
Yep.
You get your core rules for free. You get your combat patrol rules for free. And you can theoretically just play combat patrol forever, never buying rules.
Yep, they're gonna support it for organized play. This is great, right? Because you're now, if someone wants to get into the game, you're now not saying, all right, well, $90 for books first.
And then we can another $150 for models.
Yeah.
Now instead you just start with the $150 or whatever it is for a combat patrol box, and you're good to go. It's still not cheap.
Nope. No, still a luxury hobby, but at least it's all something like tangible that you can put on a table.
And there is something to be said for the idea of combat patrol tournaments, because those will be easier to balance and to keep balanced. And they will rely a lot more on the skill of the players rather than on their ability to find workarounds in the rules and broken combos.
Yes, because it's just what's in the box.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's what's in the box.
Yep.
Oh, you need to know the rules for your opponents? Well, you don't even need to buy them. They're there.
Yeah.
So you can study the game in all its breadth and width without spending any money. So everybody is on theoretically the same level footing.
Yeah.
Which is great for competitive gameplay.
Yeah.
So I see a bright future for combat patrol tournaments in the future. I have a feeling a lot of current high-level players are not going to want to go that way.
Yeah.
Because when your actual strategic metal is being tested and you're just used to finding whatever the latest broken thing is, it's going to be a bit more challenging in that sense.
All right, so that was all huge. Big things.
Massive.
40K side. We have a few minutes left to run through Age of Sigmar. Holy cow. Okay, so.
Oof, it's true.
Small things. Asiag Bone Reapers and the Soulblight Grave Lords are getting new battle tomes, and with them they are getting new models, like one each, which they have been doing for armies that don't need a ton of updating. Though I do feel like the Bone Reapers haven't gotten a whole lot of late.
They have a very cool line already.
Very good.
They got so many cool things so fast. It's easy to forget.
Yeah. So their character, the Mortisan Ossifector, is he builds the bone creatures there. He's a bone crafter. And he is a super cool model.
He is very creepy in all the right ways.
And then we have, on the other side, we have Ivia Volga, the Outcast, who is one of those, like the Warcry ones. She's one of those, like, werewolfy, vampire-y characters. And those are cool. So she's over on the Soulblight Gravelord side, and both of those battle tomes are coming soon, TM.
Yes. We're also teased 2 mystery books in the next 2 seasons. Listen, I'm going to theorize, seeing that the last time we were teased mystery books in 40K, those turned out to be Arcs of Omen.
Yeah.
Arcs of Omen are coming to an end.
Yep.
It stands to figure that 2 mystery books, it can't be 2 new armies. Although, I mean, we do have Cities of Sigmar coming, so it may be Cities of Sigmar or something else. But I think it's a much safer bet that these are going to be campaign books. Now, Age of Sigmar is wide. I barely understand all the different realms as is, so it could be anything, which is wild to me. But it's a good opportunity to learn the lore more.
We also saw the new Seraphon models. Let's not forget. Lizards on Dinosaurs, the Very Clever Girls.
They're so good.
They're so good. The Scar Veteran is incredible.
And apparently he's massive. They said the pictures do not do him justice. I can believe it.
Then the Croxigors, who are also huge.
And there's 2 varieties now. There's Croxigors Light and Croxigor Heavy.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all they tell us about it. But the rounding out out of the Seraphon with everything that we've already seen from them is massive. This is going to be one of the coolest armies.
Yeah.
And it's
so
I'm already painting squigs.
Yeah. They are getting an army set, which will have the traditional special edition battle tome. Remembering all these words is hard. It's fine.
Games Workshop has its own vocabulary.
Yeah. So it's a cool looking box. There's a Slan Star Master, 10 Saurus Warriors, 5 Raptidon Chargers, and 5 Raptidon Hunters. Fun.
I can still remember back in the day watching DVDs of Buffy the Vampire Slayer while painting Lizard Man.
Yeah.
Just tons and tons of Lizard Man. It's good times.
We did hear a little bit about Cities of Sigmar. The most notable thing, and this came up during the Q&A at the live event, which apparently did not trickle down to other people because I did talk to someone about it on Twitter. It is Cities of Sigmar are going to be focused on humans, which is not to say that there aren't going to be any of the other races there, but they are going to be human focused because all those other races are covered by other armies, which makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I have a feeling that it's going to be very 40K Imperium like in the sense that it's mostly human with a couple of abhuman, like the occasional elf mercenary or something like that, probably for flavor.
Yeah. Last up, and very near and dear to my heart, is the next Warhammer Underworlds box, the new season.
The Guillermo del Toro.
Weird Hollow. Very, very good. So we're going back to weird magic stuff, which I am all about. This is the first Stormcast Eternals warband that I have ever been excited about. They're all casters. There's 3 of them. They look weird. I'm into it. So that's fine. That's great. I'm great. And then Ephelim's Pandemonium. It's a Tzeentch demon warband. Ephelim is the leader, and there's the level of weird. I compared it to if you've seen wow, right out of my head,
Pan's Labyrinth.
No, well, there's that too.
Yeah.
No, what's the cartoon? I lost it.
There's a lot of cartoons, Amy. I'm useless. I have no idea.
Anyway, it's weird. It's very weird. And like Tzeentch demons are normally weird, right? Like Tzeentch demons are weird. These are like extra weird. Like there's an eyeball with 5 arms.
It's so good.
What is happening? This is all just like a fever dream. And I'm super into it.
I have not been this excited. Like I tend to get excited about warbands, and then I buy the warband. I don't do anything with them. But these guys are so bizarre.
It's so weird. So here's my thing, right? Like as a hobbyist, I have painters that I enjoy and that I like. I have my hobby heroes, right? And they all use these like bright, vibrant colors, like people like Louise, right? And and then I don't. I feel like this is my chance to do something weird.
Yeah, time's come.
It's gonna be good. Getting out the fluorescent paints. Let's go.
Fluorescent paint, a bit of UV light. You can get some really cool things going.
So there's gonna be a couple new rules that come with it, which usually happens when we start a new season. We get new things. And so we're also getting 2 new rivals decks. Toxic Terrors and Seismic Shock.
I think that's going to be the season I get back into Underworld a little bit more.
I'm very excited. They keep doing this back and forth between like let's go out in the woods and then let's get weird with it, and every time we get weird, I'm back in. I'm so excited. So yeah. That was the Adepticon preview for the most part. I feel like. I think that was everything.
I'm sure we missed something. If you spot what we missed and it's exciting enough, leave a comment, or send us an email or a message or wherever you can find us to communicate with us. So you want to take just 5 minutes to quickly go over our personal experience. We talk about news about the hobby. Most of the times we never focus that news on ourselves, but we did go to Adepticon. Amy and I have been teasing something that we were working on for Adepticon, and we do have news about that. The news is we were finally able to present our Team Quebec team tournament army for 40K, and it was good.
Yeah, it was fine. It went all right.
If you were at Adepticon and you managed to catch it, it's the one that had not one but 2 stained glass windows.
Yes,
one of them being used. Yeah, one of them being used as a base for a Warlord Titan.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a blast presenting that. It's one thing to show off a big model like Warlord Titan, but have it surrounded by our teammate Eric's amazing scenery work, the stained glass, and the armies that I painted alongside my brother. All of it put together. It was a sight to behold. And and what's the good news, Amy?
Is the good news that we won? Is that the good news?
Yeah, that's the good news.
Yeah, we did.
So all this effort was not for naught. But one thing that is actual news that pertains to anyone that might want to participate in Adepticon next year is that we didn't just win one prize. We won Best Team and Presentation for 40K Team Tournament, which is great.
Wow,
it is exactly the prize we were aiming for.
Yeah.
However, we won a second prize that has not been announced prior, and that was the Armies on Parade overall best display.
Yeah, because prior to a few Adepticons ago, the Armies on Parade or the showcase or whatever you want to call it was limited to the team tournament. Like, it was all 40K from the one tournament, and they have in recent years started expanding it, and some of the more outlandish or intricate displays from, say, the Sigmar team tournament or whatever have made their way in, and now they open it up to all the games. So like Marvel Crisis Protocol or Warhammer Hordes or whatever you've got, you can get into the showcase. And now they're doing an award for best in showcase against everyone.
And that's the thing. So we won the first of these awards. Now that we know that this award exists, I want to encourage anybody that feels like they want to do a cool display piece for an army or a war band or a gang at Adepticon next year.
Yeah.
You have more incentive to do so. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. The way the showcase works now is that everything is set up in the hallway, and hundreds of people walk by, watch your display, chat with you. So if that is something you want to do, please. So come at us. And I mean that in the most friendly way.
Absolutely.
Like I want to see, like, I didn't get to see cool that many. Yeah, we do. And I didn't get to see the showcase that much. I was very busy talking to people.
It was intense.
But it's always wonderful to see. Like, there was this massive Sylvaneth castle. There's just so many cool things to see. And if you're not into making the displays, at least come and see them. Yeah. It's breathtaking. I don't think there's really anything quite like it in the world.
A lot of the Games Workshop guys talk about dollhousing, and this is that to like a millionth degree.
It absolutely is.
So good. So yeah.
If you want to see more and hear more about the display, head on over to Warhammer Workshop TV on YouTube. I will, in the next few weeks, be putting up a video and a montage of all the pictures and videos I took of the display, along with probably a small narrative explaining what the display is about, the thematic, and the challenges of bringing such a massive thing both to life and from Montreal to Chicago.
Customs is an adventure.
They're usually not that bad, but we had a small misstep. Nothing big. Didn't search the car or anything.
It's fine.
they just had a lot of questions. And I think there's so much more. We could go on for about an hour talking about Adepticon.
Easily.
Because it's such a great event. Next Adepticon, I believe, is from March 20th to March 24, 2024.
Yeah.
Odd coincidence there.
Yep.
So if you're into the Adepticon thing, you missed this one, or you did go to this one, you're in a hurry for next one, set your calendar. It's coming.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think we're going to have to show some restraint and stop.
Yes.
Here.
Yes. If you listen to 40K Radio, we go on quite a bit about it. And that's fine too. So we're back. Everything's great. We look forward to bringing you a lot more cool Warhammer. And so until next week, happy hobbying. Materials shown in this video are provided fully or in part by Games Workshop for promotional purposes. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping us a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching.